Good. John, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Brian, Lonnie, everyone set?
Yes, sir.
All righty. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Oviedo CRA meeting. It is Monday, October 21st, a little bit after 5:30. We are missing 3 members. Councilman Britton, Dave Axel, and Tim Slattery are absent at the moment. So let us begin. Our first item is an approval of the minutes from August 19, 2019. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any discussion?
Looks good.
Seeing and hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor of adopting the minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item up is resolution number 121-19. That is for our fiscal year 1920. It is a CRA administration work order. At this time, I'll turn it over to Mr. John Jones.
Thank you, Mayor Presampier, gentlemen of the CRA Governing Board. This is a request of the CRA Governing Board to approve a scope of services for the administration of the Oviedo CRA for fiscal year 2019-2020. At the August 19th CRA meeting, the CRA Governing Board adopted the fiscal year 1920 Oviedo CRA budget. The annual budget included funding for the administration of the Oviedo CRA. Resolution 121-19 presents the fiscal year 2019-2020 scope and fees associated with the day-to-day administration and operation of the Oviedo CRA. Resolution 121-19 also approves the work order 20-01, which provides the detailed activities and tasks associated with the administration of the Oviedo CRA. The proposed cost for the tasks and activities contained within the scope of services is $45,000. The CRA Governing Board allocated $45,000 in its fiscal year 2019-2020 CRA budget. The requested action is a approval or adoption of Resolution 121-19.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. What is the pleasure of the CRA Board?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 121-19.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Councilman Henkin, you have the floor.
Just John, you're doing a great job with this. You always have. Glad you're back in here. This is all good with the funding and everything. You really have left no stone unturned. It's my last CRA meeting, and it's been a pleasure. So get the new people that come up here, whip them into shape as well, and we'll be in good standing. But thanks for everything. Appreciate it.
We could call a special meeting just for giggles. Deputy Mayor, you have the floor.
That looks good. I don't have anything really to add.
Councilman Chednow?
I'm good.
All righty. Seeing and hearing no further discussion, I will call the vote. All in favor of the motion to adopt Resolution 121-19, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item up is item number 3, and it's just simply titled Wood Street Update. Mr. Jones, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Gentlemen of the CRA Governing Board, this is a construction update for the Wood Street Extension Project. The Wood Street Extension Project was approved for construction within the CRA Board's adoption of Resolution 114-19 on May 20th of this year. And that amount was $372,886, included award of the bid price and a 10% contingency fee. A notice to proceed was executed with the contractor on July 18th of this year, and there was also a final completion date included for the project of March 2nd of 2020. The contractor has recently provided an updated construction schedule, and clearing and grubbing of the street is anticipated to begin on October 21st of this year, today. A copy of the updated project schedule is attached. The project so far is within budget, and we have with us Mr. Bobby Wyatt here this afternoon if you have any additional detailed questions regarding the Wood Street update.
Any update, Bobby, or other than what John just did?
That's where it is.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Jones, anything else?
No, sir. This is only a informational item. There's no action required by the board.
Any questions from the board?
Good.
All righty. Go forth, demuck, and build a road. Moving on, we're up to item number 4, and I think we have some folks in the audience who may have an interest in this one. Item number 4 is the Downtown Master Plan Update. So, Mr. Jones, turn it back over to you.
Yes, sir. This is a progress report for the Downtown Master Plan Update Project. At the July 15th meeting, the CRA Governing Board discussed and authorized the CRA and the city staff to facilitate and update the City of Oviedo, Florida Downtown Master Plan and prepare the requisite intergovernmental, interagency, and CRA budget amendment documents. Subsequent, at its August 19th meeting, the CRA Governing Board adopted Resolution 11819, approving the intergovernmental interagency agreement with the city for the preparation of the downtown master plan. There have been subsequent initial stakeholder meetings with Ms. Christine Hitt and Mr. Javier Omana of CPH and Dix Height Partners, and they are here in the audience this evening to provide additional detail update with regards to the current status and the anticipated future activities regarding the downtown master plan update. At this time,
Who wants to take it?
Mr. Omana or Ms. Hitt, if you would like to, or Ms. Height, pardon me.
Javier's up.
I apologize for that.
Good evening.
Were you prepared for this update?
Indeed, yes. Yes.
Okay, just want to make
I'll look a bit affected by the weather. Not really. I've been traveling all over the state of Florida today, preaching the good policy of good urban design and master planning, all the way to Palm Coast and back. So, in any event, yes. Good evening. Javier Omana with CPH. Here with me tonight is my wife and Christina Height with Dix Height Partners, who's part of the team, along with the University of Florida. So, first of all, thank you so much for the approval of the budget and the particular budget item relative to the master plan itself.
I just have to make an announcement. I'm sorry. I just need to announce for the record that Councilman Britton and Dave Axel have joined the meeting.
Sorry we're late.
Good evening. The reason for this meeting is to bring you all an update as to where we've been since we saw you last, which was about 3 weeks ago, I believe, 4 weeks ago. We've been working with staff and the city manager as well as the stakeholders and learning about the challenges, the opportunities relative to the old downtown master plan and the master plan, the downtown area per se. We prepared some exhibits here. I'm not sure, John, are you prepared to? Who's got the magic stuff?
I don't have them queued up. They are in the agenda packages for each one of the commissioners to look at.
Leon, can we pull them up onto the screens? Those agenda items,
Give us
attachments.
We'll get technology going.
Certainly.
Then I can use that for a CRA screen. You can hang around for an hour. I mean,
And I'll give you basically, and then we can use the exhibits as references. But basically what we've done, step one was to meet with staff. Very important to gain their insights as to what direction they would like to see this, what policies, and basically what growth patterns they would like to see in light of the fact that we have a state road that's going to be basically delineating the southern portion of the property itself, and we have an internal local road, Geneva, that is going to be relocated within the property itself, creating some potentially great opportunities for great urban design, placemaking, and growth opportunities. Subsequent to those meetings with staff, we met with the two major property owners, that being the Evans family folks and the Citizens Bank representatives. And again, they gave us some interesting insights as to the history, very important, the history behind their land holdings, and also on their anticipated expectations as to what they see this master plan doing. That is a continuation of an overriding theme of creating place, honoring the history of the city, that particular side of the city, and creating and enhancing value for their properties. So after those particular meetings, great insight from the property owners and the representatives, we had the folks, the students from the University of Florida, do some site recon with us, where we walked the study area. They asked a lot of questions, took a lot of photographs, and just observed and absorbed a lot of information relative to creating place. The first exhibit that you see before us is part of your packet. If you could go back to the first one, John, please.
Existing conditions?
No, the one, the Making of Great Street.
You got it.
Very good, thank you. As I mentioned before, the study area is framed by four major roads, and a very important middle road, bisects the property, obviously, the Geneva Road. So based on that framing of the site, as it were, how to achieve a main street? How do you achieve great design? And there's some very basic design precepts. Number one, a complete street. Number two, storefronts, not just having storefront for the sake of having storefront. What makes a great storefront? Character, materiality, the cleanliness, signage, transparency, because that attracts customers and shoppers. Parking is a major component of what makes a great street and make a great community. Convenience, potential introduction of parking meters, parking structures, and how that affects the urban design itself. So these are elements that we started throwing out at the students so they can start understanding the reality of creating a great place. So we have liner buildings, walkable streets. Something that we spout and we really preach about is the public realm. Because without a great, proper public realm, what lies behind that street is affected by it. So by creating a great space, public realm, we create great spaces which beget fantastic opportunities for growth and enhancement of value, which is critical to the stakeholders and the city itself. We're talking about the type of retail mixes that we could have there. I call it the rule of threes: national, regional, and local. For this particular location, I think we really need to incentivize and encourage regional, local tenants and retail folks. Unit mix, the vertical and horizontal mix of uses, but also important to have the ability to maintain single-use structures within the master plan itself. Open space is a critical component as well. As you can see, pocket parks, public art, tactical retail events, and plaza and gathering place. So these are some of the concepts that we've begun to introduce to the students and how they relate to forging and putting together a fantastic, useful master plan for the downtown. The next item, the next exhibit that we have is that what does that say? Is it existing
That's the
conditions?
opportunity map?
Okay.
Or do you want the existing conditions?
Existing conditions, please.
Okay.
Thank you, John. And of course, we can't see it at this particular scale, but in your packet, well, we've done, and you know this very well, you're very aware of those conditions out there. We basically delineated the study area, which is critical. Obviously, the roadways that frame the study area itself, Sweetwater Creek, a natural asset to the area itself, and we also delineated the potential widening of Broadway and what effect that may or may not have on the future development. So these are basically the ground rules moving forward that the students need to look at, and the development team. What I'd like to do now is have Chris come up and discuss the opportunities map, which is it's a great stepping stone in the formulation of the forging of the master plan. Chris?
Hi, good afternoon. Chris Height with Dix Height Post Partners. Some people call me Hite, but it's unusual. So as we've gone through and talked with stakeholders, we've begun to map out and think about the opportunities that we have. And we're working, this is a working map, so it's in progress. But as you look at it and you have the detail there in front of you, the major catalyst, of course, for downtown Oviedo is the potential, what's now called Stormwater Park. We hope it gets perhaps a better name. But that particular...
That's not appealing?
Well, maybe we can come up with some better ideas. What do you think?
I think we can.
I think we can, too. But it's going to be...
What's the matter, Bobby? You're insulted? What is it?
What do you want to call it? Nice.
Celery? Solary, like the wharf.
Solari.
Yes, Solari.
Solari.
Interesting.
Oh, there you go, something to work off of.
All right.
Just don't name it anything after a chicken, please.
I'll try to avoid the chickens.
Yeah, just
Okay.
Don't,
The students kind of like the chickens,
nothing,
but...
nothing after a chicken, a rooster, nothing like
Okay. Like a rooster variety?
that.
Okay.
Whatever, just...
Anyway, so that particular project is a catalyst, as it will provide storage and treatment for the western portion of that primary central block. So we've mapped that out. Additionally, we've shown the path systems that will surround that particular park, which in and of themselves are going to help provide connectivity to some of the existing trail systems. As you guys all know, currently the Cross Seminole Trail comes in and dead ends in Oviedo, kind of creates a bit of an uncomfortable condition if you are cycling towards Oviedo because it stops at Central. However, Franklin Street now has a nice wide path on the south side. That's going to have the ability to come in, tie into Stormwater Park, and then provide the opportunity perhaps to get over to Oviedo Boulevard and then south down to the extension of the Katy Way Trail. Additionally, we're showing there's been a lot of conversations, and of course you guys have, there's a document that's been proposed that defines a realignment for Geneva Drive. That's shown in kind of the aqua color line there. You can see Geneva Drive coming from the northeast towards the southwest, and it takes a potential turn and then provides a crossing right there to the parcel on the southern side of Broadway. So that will in turn kind of better knit downtown Oviedo together. We've also identified that as a potential stop condition, traffic light condition. Additionally, in the orange tone, that's the old rail alignment. With the other opportunities to provide trail connectivity, there's a possibility that land could potentially become developable or part of an urban realm component. We're also showing the fact that this particular study area is unique in that we have two major landowners, and they happen to own a majority of the land in this general vicinity. So that in and of itself creates some pretty unique possibilities for potential redevelopment once the structure for the urban plan is set up. So we've highlighted those parcels by name as well as with the black dashed line. For the purposes of the students, we've defined very generally at this time potential right-of-way widths. They're currently starting to look at the framework for streets, typical streets, and we'll be working back and forth with them as they work to help us define the framework of that component of the public realm. Let's see. The red dash is our identified study area. So you can see that goes up to Franklin, goes over to Jessup, goes to the east behind the existing uses along Oviedo Boulevard, and then is bounded by the extension of the Katy Way Trail to the south. Extends a little bit more to the south, and then includes the middle school, Lawton House, and the church to the west. We've also gathered CAD information. So the existing conditions map shows all of the GIS information that's pretty relatively available to the public. However, we're also compiling a CAD base, which is in the works right now. We've gotten the general parameters for Broadway. We have the information for Central. We have the information for the Stormwater Park. But then we also have the surveys from the Nelson Company. So that's going to help us have a more accurate a physical plan at the end of the day. So that's underway as well. That's not yet exhibited here. The green that you're seeing on the map is on the bank parcel. You see the kind of the green circles. There's one area in downtown Oviedo that has pretty outstanding and beautiful oak trees. Trees that can't necessarily be quickly replicated, so we felt like we needed to identify those. There's a really nice alley of trees as you come into the bank, and then to the left there's some fantastic, beautiful oak trees. The challenge there is that they're in a bit of a low area, so as we consider development blocks, they may or may not be potentially impacted. But we did want to note them as a pretty strong element. The other thing we show is you see the turquoise dashed line that moves from west to east or east to west. That's defined as a potential cross through downtown Oviedo, as we've spoken with stakeholders, both city staff and some of the landowners. There's the acknowledgement that, a really great gridded block system would help strengthen downtown Oviedo, both movement through it. It's beneficial from a transportation standpoint as well as from frontage and parcelization. So that opportunity is also illustrated. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really need to point out from this map. So anyway, this is, just a work in progress. And then perhaps any additional comments you all may have might be helpful. One other item I just thought of. The post office, of course, is a real key component. You can start to see, if you zoom in just a little bit, you can start to see how that particular parcel is not only directly contiguous to this new, really great new park, and has a frontage on that park with potential real strong east-west and north-south access, but it's also on visual access of the potential realigned Geneva. So that starts for the urban designers in us, that starts to really speak to some major moves with that particular piece. So we'll be taking that into account as we come up with a block structure. And that's all I have for now.
Great. Anybody have any questions?
Chris, that road you were talking about, a walking road or a vehicle road?
You're talking about the east-west
Yep.
road, would potentially be a vehicle road.
Okay.
Yep, might be a similar cross-section, but we're studying that to the north-south of Geneva. So it would simply add to the mobility in, it's a potential.
Yeah.
It's been talked about, it's a potential, and that's why we're showing it on this particular
That'd be a great road.
plan.
Yeah.
It could be an excellent opportunity. Thanks.
Great job. Appreciate it.
Anything else? Dave?
Chris, you mentioned the post office. The CRA set aside some money this fiscal year. You said you're going to have the students you expect taking into account the stormwater park, solary park, as Bobby calls
Yeah.
it, and this possible road and pedestrian connection.
Yes.
Do you think you'll give us some design elements, design ideas on how to proceed with that as this proceeds?
So the way that we've set up the students' work to date is defining the different roadway hierarchies, as I mentioned, and then we've also identified special study areas, and so there's 9 students in the class, and we've identified 9 special study areas, and that's one of them.
So just to repeat, do you think we should sit back and look for the study to be complete before we plow forward with what we intend to do there?
I would highly recommend it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Javier, did I cover everything, do you think? Okay. Any other input or questions, thoughts?
I have a couple, but I'll wait. Keith, anything?
I just, have you had a chance to look at what the county is proposing for 434 as far as that corridor?
So on 434, we have those plans, and that's in place for
419.
Broadway, 419. We actually just got those files from Bobby, and we've seen, and we're diving into that now to answer your question. Like I mentioned, we're kind of compiling all that CAD data literally like this afternoon and tomorrow. We've kind of got everything together now. We're looking at the proposed cross-section, both from the landowners and Harlan Hansen and his team's recommendation, as well as the cross-section as it's been proposed by by FDOT, and looking really for opportunities to make sure that the pedestrian realm is kind of adds value and creates a nice walking environment. That's going to be pretty critical here. So, long answer, I think we have all the information. Now we're moving into studying it in detail.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had a question. The Geneva Road realignment, when it intersects with Broadway there, would that be another opportunity for a traffic circle instead of a traffic light? Now that we've been having all these discussions about traffic circles, I didn't know if that might be another opportunity.
Yeah, that's interesting. It
Bobby?
hadn't come up before. I'm thinking because of how FDOT is thinking, maybe not, but I'll let Bobby answer that question.
That train's left the station.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be a signal
Okay.
on this one,
All right.
unless somebody can pull off some major miracle and get them to change their minds on the design.
No,
That'll take 5 more years.
Yeah, no,
They'll have to
we're
think
good.
about it, study it,
all right. No,
look at it, contemplate it.
just curious.
So we have, you'll notice on the little opportunity plan that we have a little signal sign there, and so we're thinking, as Bobby said, that that's a signal. What that starts to do is it starts to create great block lengths. You kind of your standard block length that you really like to see in a really walkable, pedestrian friendly zone is between 400 and 600 feet, and that's about what we have between the intersection of Central and Broadway, and then to Geneva and Broadway, and then to Oviedo Boulevard and Broadway. So it starts to become pretty walkable. You'll also note that up by where we have the dashed potential line, again, it's diagrammatic at this point, we also show the potential for a signal at Central and the dashed line. It's right, if you're really intimate with this area of Oviedo, that's basically kind of lined generally with a townhouse restaurant. You'll note, we've spent a lot of time walking around out here, and you'll notice that a lot of people actually walk across that point at this time. So that even more from even observationally could be a
Flashing
potential.
pedestrian light may be better.
Could be.
Keep the traffic flowing.
Yeah, something to consider.
Chief, anything?
Nope.
I got a couple of quick questions. The sitting with the stakeholders now, are you going to, and I know it was part of the scope, when will the introduction to the public be? That'll be after the students kind of do all their work, and we were going to have...
And kind of showcase their
Yeah.
work. So...
What's the anticipated timeline?
Yeah, we will be reviewing the students' work. There's like a interim review, like a go-to meeting, and then Javier and I will be going up to Gainesville to take a look at their internal pinup on November 22nd, and then following that, we'll schedule back here for kind of a presentation of their work. I don't know that date off the top of my head, though. Yeah, I don't think it's been finally scheduled.
Okay. The Franklin Street extension is probably something that should be looked at this time.
Okay.
I mean, just in my opinion, if we're going to be looking for circulation in the old historic area, the city has the right-of-way. I don't know if we have all the right-of-way we need. I don't know if it's substandard. I know we put a little asphalt trail down on the road a while back, but that extension right over through the Baptist Church parking lot, now they're set up for it already. When they did their site plan, that road could eventually connect. So, while we're talking CRA dollars and while we're talking circulation, it may be something to consider at this time.
That's interesting.
Just food for thought.
Bobby, do you have any insight on that at all? Okay. All right, we'll add it to the map.
It's just something to, like I said, food for thought.
It's interesting.
Be a nice interconnect. It's always been envisioned. I don't know if we have substandard right away. I don't know what the deal is, but I'm sure we can figure that all out.
It's interesting.
And another thing that may just be out of the scope of what you're doing, but could be a recommendation coming out of what you're doing, is we really need to start to dive into our land development code on the conversion of the older structures to new uses. So, for instance, and this is no knock on staff, it's just that currently, if somebody buys a residential unit in the old downtown area, let's call it, or the historic area, and they want to convert that into an office use, our code is set up for big, huge projects. It doesn't take into account, I think, some of the challenges that these smaller properties have. So it could be something that could come out of this where we can make that process, I hate to use the term easier because that wouldn't necessarily be the best term to use, but for the time being, let's just call it more efficient and get folks through the process a little bit quicker. Our tree code, when you're applying the tree code for a larger parcel to a tiny parcel that's already in a residential neighborhood, I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if it makes sense that I know we prefer to have asphalt parking lots, but is it necessary?
Gotcha.
Lighting, things that an older district you may be able to get more creative with that I think staff right now is handcuffed by our code and what can be done without, somebody writing a whole PUD for their own little half-acre parcel, and, that's just too complex and too much money for a small business owner to take on. So just food for thought as we're going through this process. It wouldn't necessarily be part of this particular work order, but if you look at it, it could be a recommendation coming out of it. Oh, Javier's got it.
Yep.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Our scope does not dive into, however, it does dive into and addresses recommendations from a policy standpoint that would come out of the master plan itself. Like, for instance, what are the next steps? Let's say one of the steps is because of the unique nature of the master plan, that master plan does not fit into a particular zoning land use category in the comprehensive plan. So, therefore, a next step would be a recommendation to amend the comprehensive plan to allow for this particular new category. And within that, another recommendation would be to write us a code-specific performance criteria for the downtown, new old downtown.
New old downtown.
So all those things will be we'll be setting up the framework to enact and implement those particular issues that we identify.
And the reason why I bring it up is we're going to have pockets of areas.
Correct.
Like on, Broadway and 434, or south, that would be the southwest corner. I mean, there's a whole bunch of little old structures in there that,
Right.
a lot of them have been converted already, but there's some in there that may not have been, that, folks now may want to convert into a small business.
Correct.
Of some sort, whatever it is.
So the ability to I hate to use the word vested because that has a lot of connotations, but to vest the structures as part of the plan itself, but allow for reactive use within that same structure.
Exactly.
And then
without having to try to meet, our codes are made for bigger things.
Correct.
And then when
yes.
you try to take, those codes and apply them here, and I know we've done some tweaking over the years. I just don't know if we're as far as we need to be.
Correct. Another aspect of that is to take what is mostly a suburban-based code into an urban code. And that lends itself into a lot of opportunities to address
Well,
those
Dr.
issues.
Correa loves to hear you talk like that, so. But there's food for thought.
Thank you. No, those are great comments. Yes.
As you're all going through this. And Bobby, I like that name. I think I agree with Chris. We have to come up with something better than Stormwater Park and work off of it. I mean, if we did run with Bobby's idea, I mean, think of all the different historical little place markers that you could put around there explaining, obviously the wharf wasn't there, but you can explain what it was and how it was and, how Oviedo started. I mean, you could put that all around that trail. That would be pretty cool.
I had to come up, sorry. That was actually my idea to do that, so we had something significantly historic, uniquely to the city for that. That's where Solari came from.
Well,
I thought you said Delari, but no.
We like Bob, not quite that much. Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor, one clarification. You had mentioned about the western extension of Franklin Street. Could you point that out again on Era?
Go, it's right there.
A little further up, John.
Yep.
There you go.
It's, so see Franklin and...
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
The thing that we'd have to look at there is the fact that right now, what folks do on their bikes is rather than coming down this way, they actually cut over.
Right, well, we laid down that, Brian knows the whole story. There's some convoluted reason we had to throw that piece of asphalt down. Do you know why, Drew? Was it another Drew thing?
No.
All right, well, you guys can figure it all out. There's some reason.
It's an interesting.
There's some reason that's there currently. I don't know what it is, but if you're looking at vehicle circulation, rather than adding another light to this other road you want to put in, which is great, I have nothing wrong. I think that road's a great idea too. Use the light you have to create that movement.
If that does occur, if we do extend that, this question's for Brian. So should we then modify the project boundary north to include that parcel to the north? That would front on the Franklin Avenue extension?
Actually, the Crosslock Church, that's their stormwater pond. They're on both sides of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the corner parcel is a privately owned single-family home. So actually, the boundary's fine.
Fine? Okay.
It's fine.
All right.
The projected pathway actually cuts through where John's got the cursor
The
right
cursor,
now.
right.
It cuts through their parking lot. We worked with them back in 2005 to actually have the parking lot set up that way so that when the city, it's actually in their development agreement that should the city need the right-of-way, they will not fight us on the purchase.
It only works to their benefit too, because then they have another exit.
Right.
Right.
Okay. That
for
makes
their
sense.
parking lot. So
Okay.
It would also help the Nelson.
Yes.
It's a really interesting idea. One thing I meant to mention is if you pan over, we've identified another water body, which has shown up on a number of plans across Geneva and on the north side of the bank parcel. That particular water body would then take care of stormwater for the eastern side of that quadrant. So that's shown up on the bank's approval plans as a diagrammatic location.
Mm-hmm.
So wanted to make sure I pointed that out too.
awesome.
All right. Anything else? Any other input?
Great job.
Great job, guys.
Yeah. No, we're excited about it. All right.
So we'll be finalizing or revising our schedule, work products and such, and we'll forward that to Brian, and he can disseminate that information to everyone.
Great, Javier. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you so much for your support.
No, thank you. We appreciate it.
Mayor,
All righty, John. Back. Yes.
could I just answer the history question on the what we call the spur? Mm-hmm. Could I answer the question?
Oh, yeah,
on
go
the
ahead.
spur? Basically, the spur was created because the Cross Seminole Trail does end at State Route 434. We created the spur to go across to provide a pathway to get to the city's trailhead located at the gymnasium. The long-range plan was to possibly one day have it integrated into the roadway extension as we down in the future. But the other idea was the possibility of going from Geneva Road over to Oviedo Boulevard, and then of course you could go straight down Oviedo Boulevard to the trailhead at the gymnasium. That's one of the reasons why we have the sidewalk that runs by the current pond down to Geneva, is so that creating that pathway over to get to the trailhead.
Right.
So that was the purpose of it.
Cool. Thank you, Brian. All righty. John, anything else for us?
One more item, Mayor. At past CRA meetings, we were asked to research the opportunity to potentially expand the CRA board membership to allow general public membership to sit on the CRA Governing Board. Sat down and researched the request with Mr. Lonnie Groot and have some findings. First off, the Oviedo CRA, you're located in Seminole County. So Seminole County is a charter county, and the operations of the CRA are regulated by a delegation of authority resolution. The county grants you the authority to operate a CRA, create a CRA, and tells you how long the term of the CRA is and what the TIF participation rate is from the county. It also outlines specifically what the board membership would be for the Oviedo CRA Governing Board, that being the Oviedo City Council and also 2 appointed members from Seminole County government. If you would wish to change the potential membership of the CRA Governing Board to include non-city council members and members that weren't appointed or that were appointed by Seminole County, you would have to go back and revise your delegation of authority resolution with Seminole County. You are also limited to have a board size of only 7 people. So that's one of the statute requirements with regards to having a governing board that is comprised of the council. So you have a 7-person maximum total. So if you were to go back...
So a CRA board can't be bigger than 7?
Correct. So if you want to change the membership, you would have to go back to the county and open up the discussions to revise the delegation of authority resolution.
All right. Anybody have any questions? Well, that'll be for a future CRA board to take up.
Very good.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Yes,
Anything
sir.
else?
Nothing else, sir.
All righty. Anything for the good of the order? Good. No. Mr. Cobb, anything? Nope.
No, sir.
All righty. Upcoming meeting schedule. Well, I'm just going to announce the next one because the rest of these go into 2020. The next CRA meeting is December 2nd, 2019. It'll be at 5:30 p.m. I guess that one, I don't know if you're going to keep that one, move that one. I know there was some discussion of moving around. I'm not sure what we're going to do, but I'll let you...
No, you throw the new guys right in. There's no, this is the major leagues now. They had enough. They hold the meeting. You guys are doing it.
I'll let you all figure that out.
There you go.
We did it last year. We can do it.
There you go.
Yeah, but it's going to be new.
Good.
It's going to be different new.
Right.
So just because you did it last year might not mean that's the best idea. All righty, so that I'll announce that future meeting date because the rest of them run all the way out till 2020. With all that being said, we are adjourned.
Thank you for the kind words, sir. They're greatly appreciated. Pleasure working with you, sir.
15
years in the books. Yeah, you guys have done some amazing things.